Hey guys, Justin Howard. We are going to go over some selling techniques and presentation today. A lot of people have said the training video that we did about 5 years ago made it maybe look a little too easy. We didn't overcome any objections at the end of the video. And I'm hoping today to show you that used correctly, the presentation is that easy. It's kind of the old school ABCs of selling, always be closing. So we've set up the presentation to where you shouldn't have to try to close at the end or overcome objections. And if that's the case, that you're trying to overcome objections, you may have missed something through the ABCs of the presentation. So we're really going to hit home on that today. Another thing real quick I'm just going to touch on is rapport. I've ridden with a few people lately, and I've noticed they're spending a lot of time on rapport. They're doing a so-called warm-up a little too long. And I want you guys to understand that you can do this rapport at the end. Once we get the check, we can hang out a little bit, talk about other things, but at that point really focused on referrals also. So the rapport can be limited to a simple how long you lived here, and with the response maybe something else, but get to the point. You know, that they know why you're there. They responded to us, so to not insult their intelligence, let's get to it. And that leads to our first question. I'm going to hit on that. But before we go through these questions, let's agree on one thing. The people that have responded to us responded to something that talked about funerals. Period. Whether that be a mailer or the TV commercial, they're responding to something that talked about funerals. So our number one goal in a presentation is to find out what disturbed this person enough to respond to a topic such as funerals. It's not the happiest topic in the world, so something in their past led them to fill this card out, in my belief. So it's our number one goal to figure out what that was. You know, you guys have heard us say a lot, you want to design urgency through the presentation and using the application, which I'll talk about, but to design that urgency is to find out what disturbed this person enough to fill out a card or call a commercial. So it's our number one goal. An old saying, questions are to sales as breath is to life. So questions are the lifeblood of our business. We need to ask those questions and use them as a tool and be good listeners. So we design these questions in order so that you're always selling. You're always closing throughout the whole process. You don't have to worry about overcoming objections at the end if done correctly. All right? So let's go to it. We understand that the people have responded to something about funerals. So that leads to our number one question. I'm going to write these down. And I'm sorry, this is probably a little small. I'm working on that, but so that you can write them down yourself. But the first question is, had you experienced a funeral lately? So, funeral lately. So we want to know, again, what disturbed this person enough to fill out a card? Number one question. And again, with the way my presentation would go is how long you lived here, what have you. We go to it by mailing this card or calling our commercial, had you experienced a funeral lately? Let's stop there. When we ask this question, let's stop dead in our tracks, no pun intended, and let the prospect answer the question. And a lot of times they're a little defensive at first. They're not exactly sure what you're going to be doing here. So if you don't get the answer you want right away, that's what question number 2 is designed for. But the response that we're looking for, obviously, to question 1 is something that they experienced. So yes, we had to bury my mom 6 months ago, or what have you. Now remember, questions are to sales as breath is to life. That question leads to more questions. So yes, they had to bury someone. Now we want their mind back to when that happened, and we want details. So we want to put them kind of back in that place. So we're going to ask, was there life insurance involved? If so, did they pay fast? If there wasn't life insurance, did the family have to pitch in? Was it difficult?